Hey, what's up you guys? It's Bloody Jacob here to bring you another video. This one's going to be talking about Season 2 of Vikings. I finally got all caught up on the show, watched the Season 2 finale last night, and wow man, what a season. Speaking of season, hope you guys all had a good holiday as I wished in some of my previous videos. Hopefully it all went well for you. But yeah, I'm happy to finally be all caught up on Vikings, and I can't wait for Season 3 to start. I believe it's February 19th, 2015 is the premiere. So definitely looking forward to that. It'll probably be a show I'll do weekly reviews on, because I just really love Vikings, man. It's a great show. And it's probably one of my new favorites, along with like the Strain and stuff like that. And I will say I like Vikings quite a bit more than Black Sails at this point. It's just a better quality show on a few different ends and a few different reasons, basically. I could do a whole video comparing Vikings and Black Sails, and I could do a whole video comparing Vikings and Game of Thrones as well. But that'll come at a later time, or if you guys want it sooner, I could always do it sooner. Just speak up. But yeah, this isn't going to be a very long video. Like, I think my Season 1 general review was... Let me look it up right now. Yeah, that was about 25 minutes. Okay. Okay, so this one might be going a little bit longer. But that one was probably a little bit longer than this one was, because in that one I was talking about like my general thoughts on the show, and this is just going to be a little bit more specific to the season with what I talk about now. But really, it is just a great show. I mean, again, the visuals are fantastic. The scenery, the acting is just very impressive. As is the quality. It's so consistent from episode to episode, and their level of care to each scene is just really nice and really well done. The battles are phenomenal for the most part, and characters are well written, as is the story. It feels really well planned out. So yeah, I like it a lot. And this season, I'd probably say it was a bit better than the first season, actually, because if you guys watched my Season 1 review, you'll know I really loved episodes 4, 5, and 6, which was, I believe one of them was Raid, Burial of the Dead, and yeah, it was Trial, Raid, and Burial of the Dead. Episodes 4, 5, and 6 of Season 1 were the highlights to me, you know, with the whole culmination of the Earl Haraldson storyline. I thought that was all really, really good. And I was worried that we weren't going to have anything like that again. Like, nothing was going to feel as crucial or epic or like well-rounded as that. But and just the pace they did that at, I was really surprised by too. I mean, I expected that to last the whole season, if not like 2 more seasons or something, but they wrapped that up pretty quickly. So I was like worried that they wouldn't be able to come up with something else as awesome as that was. And the season surprised me. This season took me a little bit by surprise. The first episode of Season 2 was great, man. Brothers War was the name of the first episode of Season 2. That was just awesome, because we had Rollo, who was siding with the Jarl Borg against, you know, Ragnar and Horik, you know, King Horik's forces. We got to see that insane battle. It was really, really nice, really well shot, and chaotic and bloody. It was just awesome. How many times have I said that at this point? Like, really, how many times? So, yeah, I mean, Rollo, he was a very interesting character this season, because we've seen him, like, with the betrayal he put in at the beginning of the season, you know, siding with Borg over Ragnar and Horik, even though Borg's forces failed, of course, going against Ragnar. We've seen Rollo brought back, and he was supposed to be executed. Most people wanted him dead, and he even agreed that he deserved to die. But the lawmaker they had there spared him, saying the gods don't want him dead. And so for the rest of the season, we sort of seen this sort of redemption storyline, or this redemption story arc for Rollo, and it was just really well done for the most part. I mean, I loved Rollo's apology to Ragnar in the same premiere episode, I think it was, where he basically admits to Ragnar, I wanted to step out of your shadow, but there was no sunlight. There's like nothing beyond that for him. There wasn't like the happiness or the brightness he expected to find by leaving Ragnar's side. He realized it's not what he wanted in the end at all. He loves his brother and things like that. So really well developed character is Rollo, and he was good for the rest of the season as well. And my favorite episodes of the season, just if I want to be specific about it, was probably Brothers' War for sure, because we also had that great scene with Ragnar, discovering his daughter had died from that illness while he was gone in the previous season. Yeah, my cat's on the bed, so you may see her in the background right about now. I have to let her out in a minute, but we'll see. But, yeah, what was I talking about? Yeah, we were talking about the favorite episode. Yeah, Ragnar discovering that his daughter had died from that illness in the previous season while he was gone. And that was, even to this point, probably the most well-done acting scene in the series. Travis Fimmel, I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. If I'm not, I apologize, but Ragnar, the actor who plays Ragnar, was just great. He really, really impressed me in this. And, showed that emotion, and, they showed Ragnar supposedly being obsessed with, having these sons, and any woman possible bearing them. But, yeah, we see this scene of how hurt and pained he is at the loss of his daughter, and how much he actually loved her, just as much, if not more, than his sons. So that's a really interesting scene, and really shows the layers of Ragnar. And so he is really better than he is made out to be, I think. A better person, anyway. On the show, at least. Like I said, I haven't really studied up on the actual Ragnar Lothbrok's history. But the TV series version is just he's a great man, I'm just going to say it now. Despite his flaws, which we all have them. But yeah, I think Ragnar's a great character. Definitely my favorite on the show, and definitely a great lead for the series. My cat's waiting to get out, so he can excuse me for one moment. Apologize for that, guys. I know it's happened a couple times in my videos. Maybe a few times, actually. Hold off one more second. Alright, yeah, that's one of the risks of having Facebook open while you're recording a video. But yeah, so Brothers' War was definitely one of my favorite episodes, and we had that great battle scene. We had the great character developing scenes, like with Rollo's conversation with Ragnar, and Ragnar's scene alone on the shore with his daughter. And of course, it was also fantastic because we've seen Lagertha. I used to say Lagertha, but apparently it's pronounced Lagertha. Apparently the R is silent, but we've seen her leave Ragnar, after Ragnar tried to basically have two wives, because he loved them both to a degree, but, he basically explained that he didn't want to, leave his son again. He didn't want to, have another case where the son passed away or something like their child they almost had in season 1, him and Lagertha. So he had to keep Aslog with them. And of course, Lagertha is understandably upset by that, and she left him. And it was really probably, along with the daughter scene I spoke about earlier, is probably the most emotional scene we've had in the series so far. It was really upsetting to see them torn apart like that, especially Bjork's reaction. Yeah, it was just kind of heart-wrenching. Great acting at all ends too, from Lagertha's actress as well. But then soon after that, we had that 4-year time skip, and I'm not quite sure why they did that. I'm guessing it was just because they wanted to go a little bit further into Ragnar's reign as Earl. And with that, they changed the actors for Bjork. And so he basically... I had a bit of a problem with this, the recasting. I understand he had to look older, so of course they had to get a different actor than the child actor they had for him. But it was only supposed to be 4 years, and Bjork went from looking like 12, maybe 13 at most. Like, I'd even go as far as say he looked almost like 10 or 11 as a child. But 4 years later, he's grown up and looks like he's 20 years old, like over 20 years old. So that was a little... I could have been... they could have picked a different actor that looked a little bit younger, just a slightly, for the 4-year thing. Because the actor they got, looks a little bit older than what 4 years would be for Bjork, but... I've been kind of warming up to the actor they got to play Bjork, the older version, this season. He was developed pretty well, actually. Because we had that whole storyline with the slave girl, I forget her name, but they sort of eventually had a little bit of a flicker. And, ended, it kind of culminated with Aslog freeing her and making her a free woman. And so that was kind of touching to see. And Bjork himself was well developed, not only because of that, but also because we got to see him battle alongside his father when Lagertha actually chose to help Ragnar and give him some of her men to help him fight against Borg and the rest of them, which is also really, really well-rounded and nice full circle. Because from the first episode, we see how they're torn apart. Then it still says something if Lagertha is still willing to return to him and help him fight a war or a battle. And that was some of the best scenes, and that's what made like the middle part of season 2 special to me, because we've seen Lagertha return, her and Ragnar working together again. Even if they're not married, it was still nice to see them get along to a certain degree anyway. Sorry about that weird focus that was going on, that blurry thing, but so it's still nice to see that. It's great to see Lagertha fighting again, and she had a pretty good story this season too. She got remarried, but the husband is very, very abusive and very arrogant, and it ended with basically him having it arranged to have her beaten, and then the next night he tried to do so again. It was good seeing Lagertha, like he also tried to rape her earlier in the season too, and it was good to see her not put up with any of it like her son suggested. Bjork, of course. And then it ended with him sort of trying to beat her again or force himself on her, one of the two. And basically ended with her stabbing him right in the eye, Michonne Governor style. And then one of the guys came up and decapitated him. So yeah, that was really nice to see. I didn't expect it to end so quickly, but I'm pretty much glad it did. And with that, Lagertha actually became Earl of her own, on her own as well, which is really, a really good development for the character. And I love the scene when Ragnar's looking for someone else to be allied with him and Horik, after, he does the whole bloody eagle thing to Borg. I think that's what it was called. Borg's execution is pretty brutal as well. It's like all ritualistic and just very brutal. It didn't show the knives going into him, but you could see it. You could see the blood spatters sometime, and it's just really nice. You gotta stay hydrated. So that was all really good. And that first meeting when Ragnar and Lagertha interact with each other again when she comes to aid him once again. The way Ragnar's riding around her in circles on the horse is really funny. It's kind of charming too. So that was nice. And we also met King Egbert, and Athelstein was with him, the priest from season 1. And he was basically left behind, and, he was brought back to Egbert, and he basically was shown, like, a lot of old scrolls or books that he could read that no one else could read because not a lot of people know Latin. And so he basically stayed with Egbert for a while. And Egbert seems to be a better king than some, except he still has that arrogance and, sort of villainous type of thing about him. But it was sort of interesting to see Adalstein sort of struggle with, that his religious beliefs. As he explains later on, he feels the spirit of, Jesus Christ in him and stuff like that. But yeah, he still sees Thor in the clouds and the light, the thunder and stuff like that. So all the time he spent with Ragnar and the rest of them, was kind of sort of shaping his beliefs a little bit differently. But eventually Ragnar and him meet again, and it was interesting to see the dynamic between him and Ragnar. Ragnar wanted to learn more about Jesus Christ and things like that. And it's kind of admirable about Ragnar because he says, yeah, I think our gods could be friends. They're actually kind of similar, which is kind of cool because you think that's the start to, like, religious freedom. So that's good and very interesting, actually, very intriguing. I myself personally am not a religious person, but I don't really believe in that personally. No offense to anyone who does, you can believe what you want. But yeah, it's still really intriguing to me to see something like that on the show. It's really interesting seeing that idea being brought forward of religious freedom, so that's really cool. And, basically the whole season ending was built around, like, my favorite battle of the season could have been actually in episode 9, I believe, when Ragnar and Horik and Lagertha's forces fought against Egbert and King Alla's forces as well. And, I was wondering, Rollo actually ended up getting severely injured. I actually thought he was going to die. But, because of course after Rollo sort of redeems himself, of course he would die, right? He almost does, but he doesn't. But we all had a great battle. I think it was in episode 9. When Egbert, had found out more about some of Caesar's tactics in battle. And he sort of, used the sections of his army coming from different directions to sort of trap Ragnar and the rest of them. And they sort of had to force themselves into a retreat. So yes, Ragnar lost that battle, but only because Horik, kept on forcing him to do something else. And apparently Ragnar was proved right because they lost when they tried Horik's way. So, and you find out Horik's not, so trustworthy at all either. The whole Siggy thing this season and him going behind Ragnar's back trying to find out his weaknesses. And he also tries to talk to Floki into betraying Ragnar and helping him kill his family and taking over and stuff like that. Which I actually thought was working for a little while. And I think it might have been at one point or another, but Floki, I thought he was just turning into a complete villain, which was kind of interesting for a little while. But in the final episode, we get this great payoff with everything coming to a collision course coming to a halt, actually, and we get a great season 2 finale with Horik trying to put his plans in action with Floki. Floki supposedly going around giving Rollo, I forget his name, but one of the other more prominent members of Ragnar's army. And Ragnar's group anyway, and as well as one of the kids and stuff like that. But so they make us think Floki's actually betraying Ragnar. But when Horik goes to put his plans into action, when he's marching through, going to the main Great Hall area to confront Ragnar, turns out that no, Siggy and Floki both betrayed Horik in the end anyway. They were both more loyal to Ragnar instead of going to Horik. I was a little surprised by Siggy especially because she was really shifty with sleeping with Horik and behind Rollo's back and going to the seer and expressing her desire to return to the throne or return to power however possible. I still don't trust Siggy fully. But it was kind of good to see that she didn't fully betray Ragnar in the end. And it's also good to see Floki was kind of leading Horik along the whole time too, or at least at the end of it. And Horik was just killed in a really brutal way, and deservedly so. You know, like even Bjorg takes a swing at him with an axe. You know, Lagertha hits him, and then Ragnar just brutally kills him. Like headbutts him multiple times. You know, punches him, and yeah, it's just a perfect death. So yeah, that ends with, you know, of course, Ragnar killing Horik, and the season ends with a great shot of Ragnar sitting on top of the sword, the special sword, and you know, basically he's King Ragnar now, with Horik dead. Of course, Ragnar would take over, and it's a great payoff. So well developed. The season was really good at that. Yes, I love that, you know, especially the 4, 5, and 6 episodes of season 1. But overall, I'd say this season was probably a little bit more well-rounded. It was a little bit more consistent. Even though the show in general is very consistent, this one just felt like really smooth and really fluid, as the whole series has, but this season in particular is even better. So I'm really excited to see what they do with season 3. Great season. I'll be picking both of these up on DVD. I'll probably do a video showing that. It'll either be like an Xmas Money type of video, or it will be just a video about Vikings. So you'll see the DVDs when I get them, hopefully next week. Can't wait for season 3 in February. So yeah, great show. Vikings, one of my favorite shows now. So yeah, catch you guys next time. Most likely for, like I said, that video of what I get with my Christmas money next week. So I'll see you guys then. And, well, yeah. Because I'm going to start watching Vampire Diaries Season 1 soon. And he may see a review on Winter's Bone with Jennifer Lawrence at some point within the next week or so, too. So you can look forward to that. So yeah, actually, I am done now. I'm not kidding this time. So I'll catch you guys next time. And, peace. Also sporting the Walking Dead t-shirt my girlfriend got me for Christmas. I showed you that in a video before, but just giving you another look at it. Thanks, babe. And, yeah, see you guys later.